بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وآله وصحبه ومن اهتدى بهداه أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Last time we met, we did not have enough time to go through this great hadith of Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As, which is hadith number 195. Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As said that the Prophet ﷺ was informed that I pray, or that I said, I will pray all night and fast all day as long as I live. And the Prophet came to me ﷺ and asked me, did you say that? And I said, yes, may Allah make my mother and father ransom for you. So the Prophet said ﷺ that this is something that you will not be able to tolerate. You cannot do this, meaning he knows that by nature people will give up after a while. So the Prophet ﷺ told him, don't do this. Sleep and pray, fast and break your fast. And then he directed him to the best of fasting, and he said, fast 3 days every month. Why? Because one good deed is multiplied by 10. So this is 30 days. If you fast 3 days every month, this means as if you fasted a whole month, and this is for the whole year, as if you fasted for the entire year. Abdullah ibn Amr, as a person who tastes and knows the beauty of worshipping Allah, said, I can do more than that. It could have been easy for him to say, okay, Jazakallah khair, khalas. Yet he's not doing it so that he would not be blamed. He's doing it because he loves Allah. He wants to do as much as possible to get closer to Allah. And this is the difference between us and them. We do forms of worship so that we are not punished, not so that we are closer to Allah. We want to do the basics. And that is why people come to me and say, Shaykh, what's the ruling on so and so? And I say, haram. They always say the same thing. Is it haram or makruh? No, it's haram. It is haram, or, a little bit small haram. What is this? Are you choosing what you want from the grocery shop? Are you buying fruits and vegetables? I want big or small. You are sinning. Akhi, assume it's not a sin. You are doing something that is makruh, meaning that Allah dislikes it. How dare you do something Allah dislikes? So, our problem is that we are not interested in getting closer to Allah. Our problem is that we just want to be on the bottom. And that's why a lot of the ignorant people say in Arabia, I don't know if they say it here as well, when we say, or when they ask Allah to enter Jannah, or if you tell them, may Allah make you and I in Jannah, he said, I am satisfied if they put me next to the doorsteps near the shoes in Jannah. I don't want to be in paradise. I just want to be at the lowest level of Jannah. And this is wrong. The Prophet says, ﷺ, if you ask Allah, ask Him for paradise, for al-Firdaus, because it is the highest of Jannah and the middle of Jannah. And don't ask for the middle or for the lowest part, ask for the top. Likewise, if a schoolboy is studying for his exams, what is your target, my son? If he tells me my target is 100%, then I will tell you he will get 95, maybe 91. But definitely he will get a very good grade. And depends on his ability. If someone tells me I'd like to get the passing grade, I know that he will fail. Whoever wants the passing grade will fail. Because the more you shoot up, then if it's a little bit down, you're still up. But if you shoot to the limit, you will fail. So likewise, we always shoot for the passing grade, which means we are in very dangerous grounds. Abdullah ibn Amr tasted the beauty of worshipping Allah. So he said, Prophet of Allah, 3 days a month? Sorry, I can do more. So the Prophet told him, in this case, fast 1 day and skip 2 days. Meaning, you fast 1/3 of the month, 10 days every month. Still saying that this is too little, I can do more. So the Prophet ﷺ told him, fast 1 day and skip 1 day. This is the fasting of Prophet Dawood, my brother, the Prophet Dawood, and it's the best of fasting. Still he wants to do more. And the Prophet told him that there isn't any more, there isn't any better than the fasting of Dawood, meaning if you do more, you're sinful. Also, the Prophet ﷺ told him that there isn't better than that. And we have some narrations from the companions that some of them used to fast the whole year, like Abdullah ibn Zubair, like other companions. So how can we balance? Some scholars say we can't balance. The Prophet saying ﷺ is fixed, and this is what should be followed. Okay, how do we justify the doings of the companions, may Allah be pleased with them? Well, either they did not hear of this hadith, and this is very possible. We've stated before a lot of the times that not all of the companions knew about every single sunnah. Not all of them, to the extent that, for example, when Umar ibn Khattab went to Sham, when he was the Khalifa, they heard that there is a plague in one of the cities, and so they stopped. Some of the companions said, don't you fear Allah? What are you afraid of? Are you afraid of dying? So why did you go out in the first place? Wasn't it to go for jihad and die in the cause of Allah? So why are you afraid of the plague? Others said, no, we can't throw ourselves in harm's way. And they didn't know what to do until Abdurrahman ibn Auf, who was answering the call of nature somewhere far, and then he came. He said, what are you disputing over? And they told him that we don't know what to do. Then he said, by Allah, I'll tell you what to do. I heard the Prophet ﷺ say, if you heard of a city where it has been in plague, there is plague in it, do not enter it. And if the plague comes into a city, you are in it, do not leave it. What do we call this nowadays? Quarantine. This is the quarantine that the Prophet instructed ﷺ. Don't go in and no one goes out. You have to surround the city. This is the quarantine that must be implemented so that the plague does not spread out. And Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, and all of those who were with him did not hear the hadith before. And there are so many other similar situations. Now, regarding the companions who used to fast the whole year, scholars said that most probably they did not know about the hadith. The second justification would be that they knew the hadith and they knew this incident, but they felt that this was not for individuals but rather for the whole ummah. However, individuals who were capable of fasting the whole year and were so strong to do this, they were exempted from following this hadith. Nevertheless, as for us, we stick with the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, and we say it is not permissible at all for anyone to exceed fasting more than half of the year. So you have to fast 1 day and skip 1 day. You cannot fast more than that. Otherwise you would be sinning and going against the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. Now, what do we learn from this hadith? This hadith is extremely important for us because it teaches us how to worship Allah Azza wa Jal continuously, uninterruptedly. What do you mean? I'll tell you what I mean. The Prophet ﷺ said that the most preferred deeds to Allah are those that are continuous, even if they're little. So Allah Azza wa Jal rewards you and He loves that you do something and maintain doing it, even if it's little. But if you do a lot for a short period of time and then fall weak and leave this good deed, then this is something that Allah Azza wa Jal does not approve of. The Prophet said in the authentic hadith, do not oblige yourselves except with the deeds you can do. Because Allah Azza wa Jal does not get fed up. So this is an instruction that you only accept and undertake what you can sustain and maintain for a long period of time. We have a short break, so stay tuned, and inshallah we'll be right. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back. So sunnah is to maintain a particular form of deed until the end of your life and not go down, but you can go more. And the Prophet said alayhi salatu wassalam to Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As that you should take it easy on yourself. Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As said at the end of his life when he got old, imagine what he said, I wish I took the Prophet's alayhi salatu wassalam permission. Now, until he was so old, he used to fast one day and skip one day. And now he says he regrets this. Why? Because he's old. And he said, I wish I took the Prophet's permission and continued to do this. Now, it is very hard for me, but I will not leave it. It is extremely hard, but I have to maintain doing it. And this is a lesson for us. When you are young, when you are practicing in your early age, you feel the enthusiasm, you feel the power. The Prophet says in the authentic hadith that every single deed has a climax, and the climax has a weak point. So whoever his weak points or the down slope, the downhill process is to my sunnah, then he has been guided. But whoever his down slope or downhill process is to other than my sunnah, then he has gone astray. What does this mean? Scholars say that this is an important hadith, especially for us, so that we maintain steadfast on Islam. Whenever you pick something, whenever you start to do something, you find that you have a lot of energy, whether in Islam or in non-Islamic activities. Example, in Islam, a person starts to practice. He has strong iman, enthusiasm, so he insists on praying Fajr in the masjid, Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib and Isha. Very good. He insists on praying night prayer, 2, 3 hours, 4 hours a night. Before, he did not pray anything at all. Now all of a sudden, mashallah, his iman is strong. He insists on fasting one day and skipping one day. He insists on finishing the Quran once every week. And this is reading a lot of Quran, attending lectures, doing this, doing that. And neglecting his work, neglecting his studies, neglecting taking care of his body and of his health. Now after 6 or 8 months of this strong behavior, which is good on the surface, but on the long run, it's bad. What happens to him? The Prophet says that the climax has a downhill process, which means that you will start to lose interest a bit by bit, bit by bit, until you reach a very low level. The Prophet says, whoever is downhill to my sunnah, he is guided. What does that mean? Means that if you, instead of praying 4 hours night prayer, you feel very tired of it after a while, you start to say, okay, I will just pray Shafa' and Witr only. Then this is sunnah, no problem. If he, instead of fasting a day and skipping a day, he said, no, I will just only fast Ramadan, not play in any day of Ramadan, and maybe Ashura, and maybe Arafah, maybe, not necessarily. And instead of attending all lectures and reading so much Quran, he reads only one juzu. So every month he finishes the Quran once. This is the minimum. This is his sunnah. The Prophet says he's guided. The other one who is led astray is the one who does not pray night prayer at all. Khalas, he leaves even witr. He does not pray Fajr on time in the masjid. He prays it after sunrise. He does not fast all days of Ramadan. He skips a day or two. He makes sins. So after the climax, he went really downhill and he reached the bottom. And this was led astray. You have a climax, watch out. If you can maintain it, do it. If you cannot, go a little bit down. Take something that suits you, that you know you can be maintaining it for a long time. And this hadith is extremely important because it talks about human nature. I know brothers who were committed in the very beginning. MashaAllah, tabarakallah, strong iman, masjids, lectures. Students of knowledge who were strong in their knowledge, strong in their practice, very proud of their religion. After a while, when the dunya is opened, people are requesting them to be a little bit lenient, be a little bit soft. All of a sudden, the beard was shrunk. As if they washed it so many times, it became up to the skin. Sheikh, what is this? He said, time changes, and scholar so-and-so say this, scholar so-and-so say this, so it's permissible. What do you want with scholar so-and-so and scholar so-and-so? What does the Prophet say, alayhi salam? He said, no, it's an issue of dispute among scholars. Subhanallah. After a while, his thobe that was to the middle of his leg goes a little bit and a little bit to the ankle and then to the floor, like as if he's a bride. Sometimes he walks and people carrying his thobe behind him. What is this, Sheikh? He said, yeah, I'm not doing it out of arrogance. I'm doing it because it's permissible and so. Sheikh so-and-so says, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. You're a Muslim. So you find that the climax they reached, they could not maintain it. And that is why the Prophet's most dua was, Ya muqallib al-qulub, thabbit qalbi ala dini. Oh Allah, who turns hearts over, who flips hearts over, make my heart steadfast on your religion. You have to do this every single day, hundreds of times. Why? Because you and I have seen so many people go astray. People who used to look as if they're committed. And so many people with their beards, with their Islamic look, they've reached their climax and they went downhill and now they're about to hit rock bottom. But you don't know. Because they look okay. Yet if you analyze what they say, you'll figure out that they are on a very, very dangerous curve. They look practicing, but their hearts have been corrupted. And if Allah Azza wa Jal does not help them and send to them people who would sit with them and talk with them and realize this and advise them and surround them and bring them back to safety, they will be soon doomed. And you know a lot of this. May Allah Azza wa Jal protect us. So, this hadith is very important in showing us how to be steadfast. And also, it shows us how human nature is easily affected. And that the best of guidance is the guidance of the Prophet ﷺ. Never ever think that I can top that. I can be better than that. The Prophet ﷺ, 3 of his companions asked about the way he used to worship Allah. And when his wives told them he used to do this and that, they said, the Prophet, Allah has forgiven all of his sins. He's not like us. He has carte blanche. As for me, I will never sleep at night. I will pray all night. The other, I will never break my fast. I will fast every day. The third, I will never marry women. I will deprive myself from desire and lust. Did the Prophet approve of that? Alayhi was very angry. And he said, by Allah, I'm the most one among you who fears Allah and is knowledgeable of Allah. Yet, I sleep and pray. I fast and I eat and I marry women. Whoever chooses a path other than my sunnah is not from me. He's not a follower of mine. And therefore the best of guidance, no matter what your mind tells you, no matter what Sheikh so-and-so and Sheikh so-and-so, the earlier mentioned, tell you, the best of guidance is the guidance of the Prophet ﷺ. By following his footsteps by the millimeter, you will enter paradise. That is why when Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, objected to the Treaty of Al-Hudaybiyah, and he thought that it was unfair for the Muslims. You know, the Treaty of Hudaybiyah, what did it say? It said that if any one of the idol worshippers accepted Islam and came to the Muslims must return him back. And if any of the Muslims committed the act of apostasy and went to them, they can keep him. So Umar was outraged and he said, "O Prophet of Allah, aren't we on the right track? Aren't they following falsehood? So why should we give in our religion? Why should we surrender and be weak?" The Prophet said, "Umar, I am only the servant of Allah and I do as I am commanded, and Allah Azza wa Jal would not let me down." Umar did not like this. It's not he didn't like it. He wanted an answer that fulfills his desire of attacking the disbelievers and not being unfairly treated. So he went to Abu Bakr and he said the same to him. What did Abu Bakr say? He said, "Umar, the Prophet ﷺ is the messenger of Allah. You must stick to his, in a figure of speech, footsteps." What Abu Bakr said, you must hold on to the saddle of his camel. If you hold on to the saddle of his camel, that means wherever he goes, you will go with him. But this doesn't mean hold on to his saddle of camel, mean follow his instruction and footsteps. Umar said, after that, I realized how wrong I was, so I freed so many slaves and I gave so much money in charity so that Allah would forgive what I had said. There is no guidance better than the guidance of the Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet used to say this every single Friday, and in every great occasion when the Muslims gather, he would say that Khayrul Hadi Hadi Muhammadin sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The best of guidance is the guidance of the Prophet ﷺ. And every invented thing in Islam is an innovation, and every innovation is in hell fire. This is all the time we have. Until we meet next time, fi amanillah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.